up.
So is
Wait, we don't all get the teacher life like Coit.
hey, I'm still working. I gotta go till Wednesday.
What? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
I
Dead
thought you guys
serious.
would be out already.
Every other school around us is, but we're still going here in Comanche.
You gotta love those snow days.
Yeah, that's what happened. I think we had 5 snow days.
Is that what you're making up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say.
A lot of schools around us do the remote days or e-learning or whatever you call them.
Oh,
We
okay.
don't do those though. We make them up at the end.
You get a lot of students that do the online classes instead of just coming to school in general.
We got a handful. We don't have very many that do that, but we got some kids that do like dual credit college stuff online, but there's some kids that do just online too, but not many.
Dude, that would have been nice to be able to take classes from home in high school.
Heck yeah.
I'm sure
I don't know. I didn't like when I was in college. I didn't like doing online classes, but
You didn't?
no, I'd rather be there.
Hey, some people like it. I have a hard time showing up to work, so I don't know if I show up to class. That was even worse. It's like, oh no.
Especially when you're a senior. It's like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
I really gotta go.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
Last
dude.
week. All right, you ready? We ready to get rolling here, guys?
Yeah, we got enough people
Let's
on.
roll,
Yeah,
baby.
sure.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do it. All right, this is Beyond the Scoreboard podcast with myself and JP Stenda. We'll introduce our guest here in just a moment. This is episode number 17 already.
17, baby.
We're just flying through these, Stenda.
We're going, baby.
We, as always, make sure you're liking, following in our podcast page on Facebook, on X, and giving us love on there. Also, we got some shout outs, sponsors, Adcraft and Fatleet. Stenda and I are supporting the new Fatleet jerseys. He's got his Big Ben 7 on. I got the Urlacher on here. Stenda will model it here, show this little thing here.
Hi, guys. Now I want you to see this.
Oh,
I have
my
5 of these shirts.
Oh
this
my
is what I walk
gosh.
around, baby. You see that? You know the
You gotta give it up, Stenda.
No.
You gotta give it up, my man.
Shout out to Chris Burns and Fatleet, man. These are the best, greatest shirts of all time. That's all I need. That's it. Coach.
Yeah, these are nice, and we got a couple extra ones too that Chris hooked us up with. So if anybody is interested in Steelers / Hawkeye colors, there Stenda's got those. I have the Bears orange and blue colors. If anybody's interested in that, you can kind of see behind me there. I got one of them hanging up, and then obviously what I have on here. So appreciate Chris Burns and doing all that.
And he can do for you guys these shirts. I believe they're $20 for shirts, super cheap. And he can actually do any sports teams. So he can do your favorite, basketball, baseball, football. He can obviously put pictures on there. The other one I held up, the Hawk Steeler colors. He can just do whatever you want. So if you guys want them, I will definitely put out a post here shortly. So you guys, if you want to do an order, I can hook you guys up and get Chris to.
I think you need to put your face on that Beyond the Scoreboard one, just like you did Big Ben.
Well, we want to try to sell them. We don't want people. We want people to buy them, man.
We want people to buy them. Yeah, exactly. You ain't getting no money. You see my ugly mug on there.
All right, Stenda, I'll let you go ahead and introduce our guest here.
Okay. We got a guest. It's Casey Schmidt. Casey Schmidt. We are colleagues, co-workers. We don't work for the same agency. He works for the Tama County Sheriff's Office in Tama County, Iowa. He's a canine handler for the Sheriff's Office, and he's running for sheriff. And he's also involved in his community coaching with his daughter, both his daughters and son. And I'm going to let him give you a rundown of his background, and then we'll have a few questions for him. And then we will move into all of our topics for the night.
Yeah,
Casey
well, I
Carter.
appreciate you guys having me on. I just, what was it, Saturday? We just ended our, what was it, fourth grade girls soccer season. And the running joke is that it seems like every game that I'm there to coach, we don't always get the W. So the running joke all year was as long as Casey's not there on Saturday, we should get the W. So we had our last game on Saturday, and that was very very interesting because it dawned on me that it's a lot of fun coaching those girls, and I'll tell you what, you can't. They're tough, and I realized watching them play that day and just reflecting on the whole season, I was like, man, these girls are tough, and they want to get out there and play, and I couldn't be more proud of those girls that they fought hard, and I mean all season. But I would love to help coach softball, but because of my schedule there at work, um, I have a hard time making it to all the practices. But hopefully that will change. Make some more time to coach softball because I told the girls the one thing that I know how to do, and that's coach baseball and softball. I grew up on the ball diamond. I mean, I can't tell you how many summers I think my dad was on the board of all the Butler. I think it was called Butler Lake Baseball Association or something like that. Man, we were there every weekend, every weekday during the summer. So we're just ramping up. I got two daughters that are in softball right now. They're actually at practice right now, and just kind of going through the motions with that. It brings back a lot of memories just being at the ball diamond, and I mean that's pretty much where we grew up.
Sure.
But no, like you said, Jeremy, we worked together for some time. We had some good times back when we were all on nights together, and I'm just starting my year and a half now on day shift, which is a whole nother beast. But
Sure.
we had a lot of fun back then. We had a good crew out there, and that's what I always look for when I'm working. It's let's get some camaraderie going. We're
Yeah.
out here doing this job, and it's obviously dangerous. You see a lot of stuff, but it's it's always much better, and it's a blast to come to work when you have a good crew working, and when we had a
Sure.
good crew. And but yeah, I like I said, like you said, I've been with the sheriff's office since full time since September 2013, and currently me and Tyson get to go to work together. He's getting old. He just turned 7 here in February, but oh yeah, like you said, running for sheriff, and I couldn't be more excited for the future. We got a big election coming up on Tuesday.
It is 2 days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Mm.
it's coming up. So yeah, we biggest thing is getting people out to vote. Get your voice heard. Especially here in Tama County, we've got a lot of open seats, a lot of spots that people need to get out and vote and get their voice heard.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoy what I do, and just knowing that the future is going to be very bright. It's just getting there first. So that's why it's get out there and vote, people. Get out
Yep.
there and do your thing. Let your
So
voices be heard.
what led you to your pursuit of running for sheriff?
Honestly, I've always wanted to do it because I know that the way that I am, the person that I am, I love talking to people. I love
Mhm.
meeting people.
Sure.
I love getting to know people and building those relationships, and just knowing what we can do at the sheriff's office with a guy like me up there is, build those relationships, get out there in the community and make sure they know, the people know. It's very important for the people to know that they have a sheriff's office or law enforcement agency that actually, and I'm not saying that we don't care, but currently, but
Right.
that we care. It builds trust, and um, getting in there and making sure that we can, effectively spend the right money, the right places to let people know that they are safe, because I think there's a big difference between um, being safe and feeling safe, you
Sure.
know. But what led me is just, with all the relationships that I built and the people I've talked to, just so much support, saying, man, you would be great at it. You get in there. We need you in there because I'm all about the community. I'm all about building that relationship, and I think that leadership, strong leadership in law enforcement is making sure that you're being held accountable and that people can actually trust the law enforcement agency that they currently wherever they live, they want to be able to trust their law enforcement.
Yep.
And I think that we can absolutely get there. Not that we're not, but we can get there and strengthen that because what it's all about is we're out there serving people, answering calls for service, getting out there and handling business when it needs that, when it's time to do work, it's time to do work and be professional about it.
Yep. What do you think? And again, because I don't know anything about running for a political spot, but what do you think has been the most difficult obstacle during your campaign?
The most difficult thing for me is just being able to get out there and meet everybody that I've wanted to, is just getting out there. There's not enough time in the day to go out there and meet everybody, and that's what's frustrating for me is I want to have those conversations. I want to know what matters to people when it comes to their law enforcement. How can we better interact? How can we better operate? The people you serve are the people that are going to dictate how you operate.
Yeah.
And just the biggest frustration for me is not being able to get out there and talk to everybody in the amount of time that this campaign allows. Because we all, everybody running for office, we all have lives outside of the campaign. So we've had soccer, softball, family obligations. It's a fine balance between how stretched thin are you going to be running a campaign as it relates to your family and
Sure.
in your personal life. And so I think that the hardest thing for me is just being able to. I would love to meet everybody, but I know I can't.
Right. Do you
Uh,
this is kind of a more was I cutting you off?
I was going to ask a question.
Oh, my
if you
bad.
don't
Yeah,
mind.
no, go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Tama County, I don't know how big the county actually is, but I'm assuming it's a smaller county, right?
So we have 17,000, but for land wise, we're one of the top 10 biggest. So we
Okay.
have 721 square miles and roughly about 17,000 people.
Okay. What kind of, you're saying like your biggest thing is you're trying to get out and meet everybody. What's like some of the things you do to be visible and meet those people?
So I kind of knew going into it that I wasn't going to be able to meet everybody, because I like to think realistically about a lot of things because I think that's that way it keeps you thinking objective with a lot of issues and items that come up throughout a campaign. So I did make a website so people can go on there and learn more about me, and then obviously the Facebook page. I've been hammering on that because I think it's important to be transparent and accountable. So to me, it's any possible way people can get to know me, I'm going to do it. Because
Yeah.
I think that's important. We got people out there that don't know who I am. So okay, I looked at what do I need to do to make sure that they can find out who I am and get to know me better, and that's obviously through website, social media, and um, just seeing me on the street. I talk to a lot of people just out and about daily life, chat with them, see what's going on, how they're doing, and carry on.
It's
Nice.
gotta be tough. Like I said, and a
Yeah.
little different. Just focusing living in Dysart, town of
Mm-hmm.
1,300, and then another 16,000 people. That's a lot of people you got to reach in a short amount of time.
Yep. And I mean, like I said, it's been, I don't want to say difficult, but I kind of knew going into it, I don't know if I'll be able to reach everybody, but I'm going to do my best.
Yep. And that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coach Coy, this next one I got this. You could probably relate to this maybe a little bit. I don't know when you got hired as the head football coach, if you had, I'm sure you had competition, people that maybe in-house internally that were vying for that position. But the question, Casey, is, and again, it might be kind of tough to answer, but I think it's probably something that people are thinking about. There's 3 people within the sheriff's office running internally. How do you manage and maintain those working relationships while you're going through the process of vying for, the top spot?
Yeah, that's a great question because I got asked a lot. When I announced I was going to run, I had a lot of coworkers and people close to the sheriff's office that, man, it's gonna get nasty. There's gonna be this. There's gonna be turmoil and drama. And my response was, if you're looking for drama, you're gonna find it.
Sure.
If you're looking to cause a problem, you're gonna find a problem. And for me, I'm focused on me and the best job I can do to run this campaign and to get out there and to let people know who I am. I can't worry about, what the other guys are doing, but at the end of the day, all 3 of us know that we're going to have to work together regardless.
Right.
Unless somebody moves on or, goes elsewhere, we all got to work together. So I kind of go by the mantra, if you're going to be causing drama, it's going to find you. And knowing that we still have to go out and do this job regardless of who wins and who loses. Just like I said Tuesday night at our forum, we had, we're gonna be men about it. We're gonna shake hands, nice job, and we're gonna put this behind us, and we're gonna do what we can do to work better together after all of this, not just for ourselves, but for the people we serve. So, I mean, to me, I got no ill will against anybody. I'm just, I want to get, I know where I want to be, and I got to get to that spot, and I have no issues with either of the other 2, and we're gonna be men about it.
Yep. Have you ever had that, Coach Coy, where like when you got hired, did you have anybody in house and you had them on
No,
staff and you're like, oh shoot?
I was the only one in house that applied for it, the head job, and then I mean, I had support from the coaches that stayed on staff and the administrative, the AD and all that too. So I didn't really have to go through anything like that.
That'd be, I would, that, yeah, you'd have to be geared up for something. I can only imagine, especially coaching too, where, you're at a big school and there's 3 or 4 guys, kind of like Casey, you got 3 people in house doing it. It's like, yeah, you want it to be clean and in the right way. But when you're vying for that top spot, like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you want to be there for a reason. I mean, but
Well, and and especially with this election, we have our current sheriff. I mean, I can honestly say, with all 3 of us running, you know, we wouldn't be in the positions we are today without him. I
sure.
mean, he's been in law enforcement for over 40 years. He'll be the sheriff 24 years here in November. And so, with him retiring, it's wide open. So,
Yeah.
I mean, now's the time to get in there and I I can't thank our current sheriff enough for everything he's done for all of us, and I know it's got to be hard for him because he's retiring and gonna have to turn the reins over to somebody, and that's gonna be difficult. And I don't envy where he's at, but I appreciate everything he's done for all 3 of us.
Sure. Absolutely. Do you, this again here, what do you think, what do you believe is the most important quality, a sheriff should possess as a leader?
I believe it's, how approachable are you? How well can you talk to people? I mean, when you're in that top position and you're the, top elected law enforcement official in the county, I mean, you got to be able to talk to anybody and everybody. And I think with a lot of people that know who I am, I can carry on a conversation for as long as you'll let me. I mean,
Yeah.
going out there and just even today, going out there knocking on doors. There's quite a few people I ran into, and I had to cut it short, which I didn't want to. You just get to talking. I love finding out. I love finding out who people are. You know,
Sure.
I think you can't be an effective leader without listening and understanding where people are coming from and being able to adapt to the various needs at any given time. You know, I mean, what works today might not work next year, but you have to have that communication to make sure that, you know, is this what the people want? Is this what, you know, the citizens need for Tama County or just in general? I mean, let's take the sheriff's office out of it. Let's take, you know, any position of leadership. It's, you know, how well can you communicate and actively listen and carry on that conversation for the common goal? Me and you might not get along, Jeremy. We may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but that's not going to stop us from, you know, having a friendship and,
Sure.
you know, having that conversation. I think that's huge, especially for a position of leadership. You got to be able to, you know, adapt. And if something needs to be adapted, we change it.
Sure.
And we move on to the next.
Yep. Look at that.
Yeah.
Can
It sounds like this is a great campaign. If I was in Tama County, you got my vote.
Hey, I always say I put on there, you know, he could sell snow to an Eskimo.
Oh,
You know, give
geez,
Casey
yeah.
enough time to plant the seed. I think he probably could do that. Be a good salesman.
Right. Well,
Do the salesman.
No,
The last
yeah.
one I have is, and again, it's kind of broad, but you know, if you're elected as a sheriff, what would your first year look like as far as changes within the sheriff's office?
you know, I think we've been asked before. I think the question was, you know, what are you going to do in your first term? Which obviously a term for sheriff is 4 years, but you know, the first year, I think there's going to be, you know, there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some, you know, different changes. Um, but I've definitely allowed myself that time, and when I talk to people, you know, there isn't going to be any drastic changes for at least 100 days, if there are any drastic changes. You know, there's still a lot of things that I don't know why are done the way they are, but you know, getting in there, seeing, you know, getting a good baseline as to, okay, this is why things are done the way they're done, um, and allowing that time to soak in and see where we can start to move forward. Um, you know, I think that change is scary for a lot of people, especially when you have the current sheriff who's been there for how long, and then now we have this election coming up on, you know, the primary on Tuesday. You know, people are understanding that we have a big change coming, and it's easing into that. You know, it's easing into that, and um, the first year is going to be a lot of, you know, meeting with staff, meeting with, you know, folks with the community, building better relationships, or maybe not better relationships, but just enhancing the relationships that we have, and just really getting a good bearing on how we want to proceed. I would assume probably a lot of planning, you know, planning for the future, because I don't plan on just doing this for one term. I'm in it
Right.
for the long haul. So, you know, the first year I think is going to be filled with a lot of, you know, growing pains and getting adjusted, and but maybe not. You know, maybe it's not going to be as bad as everybody thinks it may be. You know, I my plan is to get in there and hopefully make it as smooth as possible. I mean, I'm not going to go in there and just, you know, cause a whole bunch of drama and turmoil. That's not anywhere close. But I think it's going to be a lot of planning, a lot of trying to figure out how we can build on what we have. You know, because obviously, you know, the current sheriff has left us a great foundation, and just implementing the small ideas that I have for the sheriff's office, moving forward.
All while being a Bears fan.
Let's go.
There's no other team.
Oh man, bear down. Coach Corey,
Bear
bear
down.
There's
down.
no other team.
God. Ugh. I don't know if that it tells. I think, you know, it tells a lot about someone's character when you're a Bears fan, man.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
solid.
guys.
They're solid people. They're great people.
They're
You
loyal,
know,
loyal people.
I will
very
say
loyal.
you guys are 100. Yeah, you're loyal. Yeah, I'll give you that. But
Yes.
Very loyal.
loyal, but man,
Also a Cubs fan, so you know.
oh,
Pretty
Amen to
loyal
that.
Even worse.
That was, it's funny because around here there's a lot of Cardinals fans,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and it's fun. It's fun going back and forth with Cardinals fans because, yeah,
I don't like either of them, but hey,
No, I hate
I think-
losing to them.
I take the Cards over the Cubs any day.
yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
White Sox suck, dude.
Coach
White Sox
Coy.
are the worst team in the majors right now, aren't they?
Who?
The White Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Their
Well,
team?
yeah,
Are they still a team?
they're still a team.
I haven't heard
Yeah.
the White Sox in a long time.
I don't even know if they have double-digit wins yet. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
they're-
I'd have
They're
to
struggling.
look at I haven't seen the standings in a while. I know the Cubs were
Cubs
last
are
time
not
I checked, they were
playing.
right around what, 500.
Yeah, they're right around there. But
I mean, better than like I said, at one point the White Sox were like 3-21 or something.
It's a rebuilding year.
Yeah,
What you hear every year.
yeah. About
Yeah.
every single year, it's been that way since Konerko left. So
Old Paulie.
old Paulie, man, he could hit him. So, Coach Coy, if you don't
Yeah.
got nothing, you can go ahead and
okay, let's do it.
roll us through some of the topics.
All right. So moving through some of our topics here. First one we're gonna kind of go with is Stendo wanted to talk about his favorite NFL player,
Ooh, yeah,
not named Big Ben Roethlisberger,
that's
but
right.
Aaron Rodgers came out and said that he'd like to play another 3 to 5 years. Going to be 41 at some point this season, so he's obviously getting up there in age. Stenda, question: can he play 3 to 5 more years in the NFL?
I don't know. You're the head football coach. I you know what I think of him. He's a diva. But what do you think? Like, give me like when I know you've watched a lot of stuff where he talks and when he does podcasts and talk about playing. But I'd be curious to know what you really think about him as a whole, like even his career as a whole, and then the back end now of the end of his career.
Well, the Jets' offensive line is not great. So if he has a better offensive line that can protect him, then maybe he can play another 3 years. So that would be the starting point for him. It would be my opinion there. As far as him as his career overall, you look at his stats, and his stats are pretty good.
Sure.
He's got one ring, I think, right?
One Super Bowl.
One Super Bowl. So obviously he's underachieved there. And usually, people are saying he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but I don't know if I'd put him in that list yet. He's good, but I don't know about greatest of all time. So I guess to answer your question, I think he could go another 3 years with a solid offensive line. He's got some weapons around him, receivers and young running backs. So maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's only 1 or 2 more years.
Yeah, he's old, man. He's like 40.
Well, my
he'll be
question is why
41.
not let him play? If he can sling the ball, let him play.
Well, what do you think about him, Casey? I know being a Bears fan, you've seen him. Well, hey, what'd he do?
Oh.
He owns you guys, man.
Here's the thing,
He does.
I know he's a Packer, right? And I know I'm a Bears fan, but if you watch him play, he can throw the ball. He can, if he needs to, he can scramble. Yeah, he's not the fastest, but he can throw the ball. And I was excited when he went to the Jets. Obviously there's a lot of Iowa State players around the Jets because go Iowa State.
Oh boy.
But he does have a passion for the game. Like, he loves playing. And so when I see him, when I hear him talk, it's, he loves the game. No different than, look at Tom Brady. He was, how old? 40, 41 when he retired? Finally?
He was
if
like
not
45,
more.
wasn't he?
45?
Yeah,
I know he was,
45.
yeah.
Yeah, he was,
if he can last more than, 3 or 4 plays this next season, why not? Let him play.
Sure.
He's got a good arm. He knows how to get the camaraderie going in his team. He's got good relationships. Let him play.
I think, I agree with you on I think he probably does a pretty good job with his teammates.
Mm.
Here's my thing for both of you guys. So, I mean, I know not everything can be, I mean, when you say the greatest, or let's say top 10, right? When we think of a sport, top 10, those guys in those categories have probably won multiple championships, more than likely. He is a fantastic, sure, statistically in the regular season, but he's 12-10 in the playoffs. He's only, like you said, underachieved. He's only been to one Super Bowl, and when it comes down to it, he doesn't win the games that matter the most. But statistically great. Well, okay, that's awesome. I mean, you can play for so long. He's played 20 years, slings the rock forward 4,500 yards a year, but you never win when it matters. So at the end of the day, it's like, sure, maybe you do a subcategory and say regular season quarterbacks, but at the end of the day, like he's not winning another Super Bowl. Let's be honest. There's no way. Do you guys think he's not winning another Super Bowl?
No, I doubt
Depends
it.
on who he has with him.
You think with the Jets, after all the rebuilding they've had to do on both sides, their offensive line, like you said, Coach Coy, is not good. I just don't see him. He's not Tom Brady. I don't think he's anywhere near Tom Brady as a quarterback. But I just think, when you look at his stats, like, yeah, he's great in the regular season. Yeah, sure. But how many other guys have won more than one Super Bowl? He's kind of like Drew Brees. Drew Brees won, statistically for 20 years, he only won one Super Bowl. I mean,
or like Dan Marino, he won 0. Where would you put him though?
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I mean, I think regular
season. Okay, here's my question to you then, Stinda. So Dan Marino, for example.
Okay.
You could argue that he's a top 5 quarterback of all time, right?
I mean, I'd say top 10. Yeah, he's in the top 10.
But,
he's in the top 10.
He has no ring. So are you basing their like yardage during the regular season stat wise, and then on their all-time rank, are you basing off what they've done on the field or how many Super Bowl rings they have?
I think when you talk about, like I said, the all-time, it's like most of those guys, like in the NBA, it's like, well, yeah, guys won multiple championships, etc. Like, I just think like Dan Marino, like, yeah, statistically, yeah, he's great. Different era of football. That's a little bit different era than obviously the guys we're talking about now. It's a heavy passing league back then. Yeah, I think if you put Marino in this era, sure, he'd throw the ball. He probably, look, he threw for like 60-some thousand passing yards in an era that was, a heavy run game and built on defense. But I mean, to say like he's top 10, it's like, well, you never won the game that you're playing to win. At the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to win a championship, and you never get there. You can say he didn't have an offensive line, he didn't have a run game, etc. But I don't know. To say he's he's probably a top 10 because you can say from his era. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I put him. More of like a top 15, 20 quarterback, because if you can't win a championship, I mean, what are you playing the game for? Just a regular season and the playoffs don't matter?
I just think there's a lot that goes into winning a championship, though. I mean, you got to have the whole team on board.
I agree.
You got to have the whole team,
and it's in the major, the NFL, MLB, NBA, all that. It's very hard to win championships in those leagues too. So, but
I don't know. I think
unless it's rigged.
Yeah, geez, we gotta go there.
No, I won't even get into that. I don't know. I mean, he has won 4 MVPs, statistically, but I think again, it's like, tell me this. I think, do I think he would trade some of those MVPs for a championship? No. I think he's been his whole career, he's had no problem calling other people out. He don't ever call himself out. When have you ever watched him in a press conference take any blame for anything? It's always somebody else. Receivers, he did this last year in Green Bay. Guys can't catch them, they're dropping wide open passes. It's never his fault. It's always everyone else's. So to me, he's always just kind of been that, like, he's the diva stat guy. Yeah, I'm great. Well, sorry. These other guys, well, they didn't do it. So, or they couldn't do this. And this is why we didn't do it. It's like,
But it also seemed like the last, the last year, if not 2 years of him being in Green Bay, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I think played a factor in a lot of that, especially the last 2 years.
yeah,
I don't think he was too happy in Green Bay before he went to the Jets.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think a
agree
lot
with
of
that.
that, I think there was a lot of pressure put on him when I don't think they necessarily wanted him in Green Bay, and that's why he finally got out.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's also a character thing too. I mean, if you're throwing everybody under the bus and not taking ownership for yourself, I mean, yeah, I mean that's going to be a problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
even I don't know. Yeah, 'cause even when he got hurt this past year, there's kind of some blame put on some of the O line guys. So I mean that O lineman completely butchered the block, missed it
Yeah,
bad, but
you're right.
still, like, you gotta sometimes just bite the bullet and take one for the team, literally.
Yeah.
We got a comment in here, Stenda, Tony Bladel, is that how you say that name?
Yep. Yeah. Tony Blanco. Yeah.
He said Eli Manning, a top 10 all time QB. He has 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. I mean, here's
I don't think he's top 10 all time.
top 10. Yeah, he's saying top 10 all time. I think he would definitely be a 15, at least
He'd
top
be,
15.
yeah, I'd say that.
20.
I'd say probably top 15, top 20. Yeah.
And who did he beat?
He beat
Beat
Tom
Tom Brady
Brady.
twice.
Yep.
And he never, let's, if you look back on his career, he never had an offensive line. That was, I mean, he literally did. I mean, he had Strahan, he had some really good defensive guys too. But when it came down to it, like he was kind of he was a gritty guy. Like especially those 2 Super Bowls to beat Tom Brady and Belichick like that. I mean, he never really had an offensive line in his career. That was the big shuffle.
Like the athletes around him weren't like outstanding either. I mean,
No.
He had Odell for a little bit, like David Tyree, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Mario Manningham. Those are like the guys I remember, and they,
Yeah.
like just random dudes. But yeah, I go top 15, top 20 for that one.
What about you, Casey?
I'm going to put him in top 20. I love watching him and his brother sometimes, go back
Yeah.
and forth and narrate games and comment, but I'd say Eli's a top 20.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right. Should we skip ahead and go to we'll go to the Angel Hernandez talk here?
Oh, I love me some Angel Hernandez.
All right. So obviously, as most people probably know, if you follow sports, Angel Hernandez has retired from the MLB. Been an MLB umpire since 1991, so he umpired for a long time. Probably going to go down as one of the most, I guess, controversial or worst umpires ever. As Tanner Weber says, his best call of his career was to retire. That's probably true.
There's no doubt about that.
But so just kind of
you got yourself muted, pal.
Oh yeah, you do. See, we didn't want to hear him talk, so
I secretly did that.
Hey,
there he goes. There you go. Jeez.
I was worried he was going to go down the Ben Roethlisberger train, and I wasn't about to have that tonight.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, that's why I flipped categories quick, because I was waiting for him to talk about that.
Saw that mute button. It's like, we're moving right along, baby. Moving right along.
It's going.
So Angel Hernandez, last year he was ranked like dead last in umpire rankings. So the timing of it's kind of strange, literally in the middle of the season. So do you think that there's some rumblings out there that MLB's like, hey, here's some money, get out type thing, but he's saying that's not how it happened? What do you guys think? Do you think the MLB was finally had enough and gave him a little extra settlement to get out, or do you think he just made the decision himself?
I think he's tired of getting all the flack. You know, I
Yeah.
think he's tired of getting all the heat for the calls that he has. Which Angel would be a great little league or youth softball umpire because I remember umping back in the day, and I mean, if you could hit the ball regardless of where it was at, if I thought you could hit the ball, it was a strike, right?
Sure.
And that's why I laugh because that's why I think it's funny that Angel's out there. He's doing these MLB games, behind the plate, and I mean, some of these are coming in just either way
Oh,
outside, way down low. In I mean it, and he's calling them strikes, and these MLB players are just, what are you calling?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, they see thousands of pitches and know exactly where these balls are going to go. When you're an umpire, especially in the youth, that's why I say he'd be a great youth umpire because I mean, you want to get these kids swinging, right? So get these
Mhm.
kids swinging. Let the coaches know before the game, hey, this strike zone is going to be pretty big because we want these kids to swing, make contact. That's why I think he'd be a great youth little league umpire because I mean, I was just watching a reel the other night on Instagram, and it was like the top 10. I mean, and this is top 10, mind you, top 10 worst calls by Angel Hernandez. And they did
Yeah.
however they do the, measurements now outside the batter's box. I mean, some of them got like 5 feet outside of the batter's box that you see on TV, and they're still calling it. And I'm like, and he's still calling strikes. I mean, it was just, it was wild. But to get back to the question, I think that he just got tired of all the flack that he got. I mean, I'm sure it's just nonstop for the guy. I mean, but
Yeah.
then again, some of those pitches that were coming in there, and he's calling them strikes. It would irritate me. It
Yeah.
would definitely irritate me if I was batting.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
and every umpire misses a call here and there, but his calls that he missed were just so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why he had that game earlier this year where he had those 3 outside pitches that weren't even near the
We're even
zone.
close.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
whoa. And a
And
guy
how do
that's
you
been
miss
doing it
that
for so
bad?
long. Yeah. And he's been doing it for so long, you would think, he understands the strike zone, but man,
Yeah, dude.
crazy.
I don't know. I'm with you. I like you how you say, the settlement thing. I agree with you, Casey, that he probably the flack that he was probably getting, like social media, emails, you name it. But I would imagine that, and they have the umpires union. So that he probably went to him and he's like, all right, I'm getting out of this, but like you said, I need something in exchange for walking away right now mid-season after 30 some years. And they're like, you know what?
Well,
Thank goodness. Here, we'll take the check and get out of here because,
Hmm.
yeah, I think like you're saying, Casey, the little league and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's how bad it is. It's like, I remember doing Honeywell baseball in Clinton. Yeah, that outside corner, you gave them 5 or 6 inches. Sure, you gave them that. You can't do that in MLB.
No.
Like,
no, you can't do that because I
dude,
mean
come
that's the
on.
thing is these players are going up there. I mean, like,
Oh,
Must have
did we lose him?
connection.
Yeah. The well, we'll read the Tony Ladle comment. He says, "Does Jim Joyce call when Galarraga missed his perfect game go down as the worst?" Yeah, that was really bad, and obviously the situation and timing of it being a perfect game was even worse.
Yeah. How
But at
sad is
least,
that?
yeah, and I remember when that happened, that Jim Joyce was like, he was like in tears, like because when he looked at the call and he's like, yeah, I completely missed it, and that was before replay too, I'm pretty sure. So they couldn't go back and review it. But Galarraga handled that really well too, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And he could have said a lot of bad things about Jim Joyce, but he didn't. But that would probably go down as one of the worst calls ever. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. No,
There's
you're
that other one. I didn't see this game, but I think it was like the Royals and Cardinals, maybe in the World Series or playoffs, and there's a really bad call at first base, like back in the 70s or 80s, as well. But yeah, that one was tough just because of the situation of it being a perfect game and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on it, though. You back, Casey?
We're back. I don't know what happened there, boys. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
You're all right.
It's all good.
I'm with you though on that Galarraga. Oh man, how do you miss it that bad though?
Yeah, that was bad. That was. I mean, he was there well before that play, or he was on the bag with like a foot before the runner was. That was bad.
Well, maybe you're like, maybe he was just that nervous, the umpire, like because of the situation, thinking like, oh, I don't want to mess this up. And then you're like, what if he was really like, he wanted to say, you know, out, but he's like, out, but he's like, oh, no, like, what did I do?
Yeah, I don't know. That was a sad situation though, for sure.
Yeah.
That.
Angel
any
Hernandez,
other?
rest in peace.
Yep, he is no longer in the MLB. Next topic, and this will be a good one for Casey and you, JP, since you guys both are in law enforcement. We're a little behind on this. We didn't have a show last week, so this is why we're talking about it now. But the Scotty Scheffler arrest that happened a couple weeks ago. Obviously, it was a sad situation with the pedestrian getting hit and dying in that situation. And Scheffler's trying to get to his warm up time and at the course and trying to basically going around the barricade and all that. And so I don't know. I mean, your guys' situation where you've had like to set up barricades and people obviously probably get a little sometimes upset trying to figure out what's going on or may try to go around it. How do you guys handle a situation similar, or have you had maybe something along those lines, and what did you do?
Casey,
one can go first.
You know, I got to be honest. I haven't watched any of the body cam or dash cam of the Scheffler deal.
There was no body cam, right?
There's not.
And that's the thing. The cop's body cam, he didn't activate it.
Yeah,
that was one of the big deals about the whole thing too.
I thought I had read some news source that said that they had released the body cam or something like that. And it must have been maybe something else, but the biggest problem I think that we have right now is that, the power of social media, the news agencies out there, they're gonna get spins on things that, if he's actively trying to get around the barricade and they're doing it in an active investigation, I mean, everybody needs to be held accountable. It doesn't matter how fast or how, if you're a professional golfer, you need to get to your warm up. I mean, I understand that that's very important and you're a professional athlete, but at the same time too, I mean, I don't think it gives you any right to feel like you're more important. And I'm just saying this, my knee jerk reaction to it all. And I'm not saying that Scotty was, kind of being a jerk about it or thought that he was entitled to go around. Unfortunately, and as Jeremy knows, I mean, a lot of times stories get out there that, have, when it involves law enforcement and issues like this, once the narrative is out there, it's hard to go back on it. I hope that with everything that did go on, I hope that there isn't anything that, he needed to be charged. If he needed to be charged, he needed to be charged. But it's just that image out there. Once it gets out there, it's hard to recoup from that.
Sure. Well, I think the fact, because I read through like the facts of, what they like the actual facts of what happened. And I think what they put down is that they were, when this would happen, they were to go around the barricades previously and they showed their identification card. They had this fatality accident and he's got his window down. He's rolling his window down, and he's like, hey, he's trying to tell him. Well, he's going around the barricade. He's like, I'm going to give you my ID card. The guy literally reaches in the car, and his car's not even move. It's barely moving. It's barely moving. And Scheffler's like, dude, I'm with this is what we're instructed to do. So then the officer pulls him, like reaches in the car, tries to pull him out, and he's like, okay. So he stops, and then he yanks him out, and then tells him, some guy's like, hey, dude, like he was showing you his ID card, and Scheffler's like, hey, here it is. He's like, no, get out of here. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you do to get him out of here. I'm taking him to jail. Well, sure, in the process, he reaches in, he scrapes his hand, or whatever, and says there's injuries. And this is literally coming from multiple sources like ESPN, the outlets that are the facts that they have. And he even says, he's like, yeah, this is what we were instructed to do. He's like, I have no ill will against that guy. But the officer was so pissed off that he, I guess, navigates around this a little bit. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, well, hey, I'm supposed to give you my ID. Well, then he grabs the end of the vehicle, and then he pulls him out. So, I mean, to me, I agree with what you're saying, like the accountability and then like how it's going to be put out there. But like, to me, it's like the risk and reward there. To me, it's like, that's a low, this kid, that's a low level incident.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, man, like if that's you or I, we're like, all right, man, like, hey, maybe tell the guy like, hey, stop your car. I'm not reaching in somebody's car so I'd even have the chance of getting hurt. Say, get out of the vehicle. I'm going to talk to you and be like, hey, what's going on? Hey, I'm with the LPGA. Here's my card. Okay, you can go around. Do you really need to take it to that level? Like, was it really reasonable? It's kind of like, again, we weren't there. So I guess we'll probably never really know what exactly happened.
Yeah. And that's what's hard. That's what's hard about it. I mean, if there's no body cam, I mean, it's going to be on. I mean, this as well as I do. It's going to be what's in the report and what's reported on.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of research on it because I've been a little busy the last couple months. But to me, it's it could sound like it was just a bad day for the officer.
Yeah. I think all the charges on Scheffler got dropped too because there was no body cam footage and all that stuff. So
because I printed off this is actually the statement that their PD said, was that based on the totality of the evidence, my office cannot move forward in the prosecution. And then said, Mr. Scheffler's characterization that this was a big misunderstanding is corroborated by the evidence. And the evidence we reviewed supports the conclusion that they said the detective was concerned for public safety at the scene when he initiated the contact with Scheffler. Says, however, Scheffler's actions and the evidence surrounding their exchange during this misunderstanding do not satisfy the elements of any criminal offenses. So I look at that where I'm like, yeah, you get somebody that's just like, yeah, you're pissed. It's like, well, you'd be pissed, but was he really doing? I mean, again, I think probably just be handled, obviously a lot differently than.
Yeah.
But then again, yeah, it is hard. I mean, the hard part is, yeah, you just never really know, especially if there's no video footage or he said.
Yeah. So I guess I'll ask the question to you guys. So you guys, whenever you do like a traffic stop or anything basic like that, you have to activate the body camera, correct?
Yeah.
Is that a law now?
No.
Okay. But do you guys have to, like in Tama County or however you do it?
I mean, there's definitely times where, as the body cams that we currently have, I mean, the battery doesn't last as long and, they can die, especially if you're using it quite a bit. I started using a body cam. It was one of those Axons that it was attached to my hat, and I had to wear this like weird contraption, and it was like, supposed to be a first person view. And I'll tell you what, the body cams, as much as I hated wearing them at first, I have almost like an anxiety attack if I don't have it. If I don't
Sure.
have it on, if it's not charged, if it's not recording, I kind of have a little panic attack because it's like it has saved me so many times from the he said she said thing.
Sure.
And it's not even that you're trying to cover anything up. It's just people want to make up something that happened while you were having an interaction with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, "Oh, watch the body cam. It's all there. The body cam, you know, isn't going to. I mean, it isn't going to capture everything. It's not going to capture. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a limited amount of view on it, but I'll tell you what, I, I won't work without one.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I mean, it also probably it holds everyone accountable too, a
Yeah,
little bit too. So you can't can't get
absolutely.
away with anything, I guess, if when it's on. But
Well, it just raises, in this day and age, it just raises so many questions. Why wasn't it on? Why didn't you get that? Why
yeah,
didn't you, why didn't you have a charge? I mean, it just raises too many questions now why you don't have body cam.
Right.
Whereas, it was such a huge benefit 10, 15 years ago that you actually had body cam. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And now it's, it's almost like the roles of reverse. It's, you don't have body cam, so can we even trust what you say?
right,
Right.
Which, I mean, part of it is kind of sad because, when you get into law enforcement, it's, you're held to a different standard whether you like to believe it or not. Your integrity is everything, and the second you lose that or it's called into question, I mean, it's hard to work that way. And with
Yeah.
body cams, if it's not on body cam, I mean, it didn't happen. No different than when you're in the academy or you heard the old salty veterans talk. If it's not in your report, it didn't happen. Well, if it's not in body cam and it's not clearly shown, I mean, it's going to be called into question.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely changed a lot. But you know what, Coach Coy, they're going to be
yeah.
coming for you guys soon. So teachers will have to wear them.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, you wait.
Just
Just wait. 5,
It'll
10
be
years.
like that show Big Brother. You have all those
Yeah,
cameras in the classroom watching, and you get the camera crews in there watching what goes on during the school day.
I don't know if we'll ever get to that. I hope not. But
Yeah, you'd hope.
However, you have to admit it would be rather entertaining to somebody that's not a teacher, somebody who's not in the school all day. It's kind of like you know, watching. It's like like what those kids cameras when you're watching your kids sleep. I can't even think of the name of them right now. But you can
oh yeah,
zoom in, you can
like a
you can
baby
join in
monitor.
to see what's
Yeah,
going. Yeah, baby monitor for
yeah,
the classrooms, man. That would be highly entertaining for somebody that's not a teacher.
yeah. I mean, we have cameras like in our hallways and like outside the building and stuff like that, but they're not in the. There's no cameras in the classrooms. So
Tony said, "Oh, nanny
yeah.
cam for nanny cam for schools." I bet they have cameras in schools. I mean,
Well, we do. I mean, we do like I said in the hallways and stuff, but I don't. There's none in the classrooms
right.
that I know of, unless they're hiding them. But
You'd hope it never get to that, but
yeah. Well, I
we,
mean, you never know.
yeah,
Never know, man.
come a
I
long
would
way.
just log I would just log in to watch my kids all day and make sure they're paying attention and not acting up.
It'd be awesome. Then like kids would definitely be held more accountable, and well, most kids probably would. There's always some that won't, but yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. Might not be a bad idea, I guess.
It's got to be
We'll
rough
see.
being a teacher right now, though. I'll tell you that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm lucky, and I've said this before, but Comanche's pretty good. Um, we really have pretty good kids for the most part, so I haven't really had any serious issues or problems with kids as far as classroom behavior and things like that. But there's always one or two out there, every year
Mhm.
that you got that are a little more harder to, I guess, get them locked in and motivated and that kind of thing. But you're
Oh
always
yeah.
you're always gonna have that. So all good.
Got a couple of kids you'd like to give a stone cold stun or two at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll plead the fifth on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never know who's listening, Stenda. So
I know. I got you, man.
don't want to give that away.
Nope.
All right. So, Stenda, you want to just go into your rapid fire here, and then we'll get into tier talk after that, you think?
Sure.
All
Yeah.
right, let's do it.
All right,
So you
Casey.
explain to Casey, yeah, how it works.
So we're added rapid fire. I've
Rapid
got
fire.
so I'll have 5 comparisons. So say like if I said, Jeremy Stender or Casey Schmidt, you tell me who's the better one. So I'll go,
Yeah.
we'll go through the list. I'll hit you
Casey
with
Schmidt.
5 of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's going to be me. You already know that it's going to be me. We know that. So I'll hit the 5. I'll do 5 with you, and then we'll talk about your responses. And then I'll hit Coach Coit with 5 of them. We'll talk about his responses. That's kind of how we do it. So you guys ready for this?
do it.
I hope so.
All right. This is for Casey. First one, Brock Purdy or Seneca Wallace?
Brock Purdy all day, baby.
David Montgomery or Brees Hall?
Ooh.
That's a good one. You caught me with that one. Rapid fire. I'm going to go Brees Hall. Sorry.
Okay. Sammy Sosa or Alfonso Soriano?
Soriano.
Carlos Zambrano or Kerry Wood?
Zambrano. Zambrano for sure.
Last one, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan.
Good.
Michael Jordan.
All right. So first one, Coach Coy, what do you think? Purdy over Seneca Wallace?
Are we going?
Oh no,
college career? Were we going just in general? I would pick Purdy.
Purdy?
Yeah.
I was kind of more gearing towards like their college careers.
Okay. College, I don't know. College might be Wallace, honestly. But
he could run. Wasn't he he was pretty mobile, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a dual threat guy.
Yeah. Okay. So then we had did you take Brees Hall, Casey?
I took Brees.
Brees.
That's a tough one too. That's a good one. I
That's
probably
a
would
solid
go.
one. That one had me thinking.
Yeah. That I'd probably go Brees Hall on that too.
Montgomery, like he's pretty. I feel
It's
like
good.
he's pretty underrated with the Bears.
I agree with that. I loved him with the Bears.
Here's why it's such a hard one, because they're both awesome running backs. But what did it for me is Brees Hall had that explosive, just getaway speed.
Sure.
I mean, he could do the dance and then, break through the O line, or he could once he got into the open, he was gone.
Yeah.
Whereas Montgomery is more the kind of the bruiser, ready to take the hit, power through the O line. Whereas Brees Hall, man, once he got open, there was no stopping him.
Yeah. Both good running backs. So you took Alfonso Soriano. I'm surprised you took Soriano over Sosa. How? Why? Give me why that? Why that pick?
Soriano he was fun to watch. I mean, yes, Sammy Sosa would hit the bombs and all that, but it seemed like Soriano was just more involved in the crowd.
Sure.
He was more involved. I mean, he was more, to me, it was much more exciting watching Soriano than it was, Sammy Sosa. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Sammy Sosa, but
yeah,
I mean, Soriano was a blast to watch too.
Because he played second base and left field.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
And he had a little bit more. He was a little bit more. I'm drawing a blank on the right word to use, but he played to the crowd more than Sammy did.
Yeah. Coy, what do you think about Sosa?
I would have went Sosa. Yeah.
Slamming Sammy, man.
Yeah, I liked Soriano too, but I don't know. Sosa kind of when him and McGuire were hitting all those bombs, I kind of changed baseball for a little bit,
Oh yeah.
So, and that was really cool to watch and follow, and I don't know. I would have taken Sosa, but you can argue both. Good argument.
Carl. So you took, and then you Zambrano over Kerry Wood. Yeah, they're both
That's a
power.
good one too. Yeah,
That is a good one.
and they both could hit too.
Oh
That's
yeah.
back when they both could hit. So
Yeah.
I just like when I don't know. I'm more of the entertainment value when it comes to baseball. You know, I mean, you get Kerry Wood, he would get mad, you know, but
mhm.
Zambrano would throw a fit.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch when he would. I mean, he knew when his pitches were on, he knew when they were off. You know, Kerry Wood, what was that game? He had what, 21 strikeouts? Something like
yeah,
just some,
yeah, I think he had
20 Ks,
20. Yeah, he had 20
yeah,
Ks.
20K. I mean, you can't take anything away from him, but Zambrano would just, I mean, he got the crowd going. It was just fun to watch Zambrano up there because he would just start he would just start chattering at people,
Mhm.
and it was fun to watch. He was,
I
Yeah.
agree. Dude. I like Zambrano. Yeah, he was like I said with the players and the umpires. I mean, he
Oh, yeah.
definitely let you know. Kerry Wood was very conservative and a comment there. Tony Stone said Wood was injury prone, which he was.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was.
imagine if he could have stayed healthy, what his career would have been like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would have taken Zambrano too, honestly.
And the Michael Jordan LeBron, I just had to throw it in there because I knew you were a Jordan fan, but
That one's easy.
yeah, we don't
That's a
need
no-brainer.
Yeah.
6-0. That's all I got to say, baby. 6-0.
That's a no-brainer.
All right, Coach Coit, you're on the hot
All right.
seat. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
Pierre Thomas or Richard Mendenhall?
Shard Mendenhall.
Kendall Gill or Nick Anderson?
I'm gonna go Gil.
Gill. Dick Butkus or Brian Urlacher?
Ooh. Man. I'm gonna go Urlacher.
Jim McMahon or Rex Grossman?
Jim McMahon.
Mark Grace or Derek Lee?
Mark Grace.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna start. So you kind of picked up the trend here.
Yeah.
I got some Illinois,
Illinois guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pierre Thomas. So you
Yep.
take Richard Mendenhall.
I did. Mendenhall. Thomas was really good college back. Mendenhall was good too, but Mendenhall he was on that team that Illinois when they went to the Rose Bowl
Yep.
against USC. Mendenhall had an okay NFL career.
Yep.
Thomas was in the NFL a little bit, didn't really do much. I think he was with the Saints for a little bit and then
Like 7
just kind of
years.
fizzled out. But Mendenhall, I think, is better. So that's why I went with them.
Kendall Gill. You took Kendall Gill over Nick Anderson, huh?
Yeah.
KG. Yeah.
I think college wise, Nick Anderson probably was a little bit better than Kendall Gill. In NBA, I think their careers are pretty similar.
Sure.
I don't know like what their point per game, all that stuff is off the top of my head, but I would say I like Kendall Gill better. I just like the way he played better. I mean, Nick Anderson was good too, but Kendall Gill is my guy.
He was for the Nets, I think.
Yeah, he played Nets and I think he played for the Bulls for a little bit too.
He did, yeah, for the old
Gill
Chicago
did.
Bulls.
Yeah.
All right. Did you take Urlacher over Buckus?
I did. Yeah. And I never that was tough though, because I never like actually saw Buckus play. I've obviously seen highlights and obviously he's one of the best linebackers of all time, but I don't know. Urlacher was just
Brian Urlacher though.
Yeah, he was just like we were talking earlier, like he's just sideline to sideline, and he just came downhill and he just freaking lay wood on anybody. He was hard to block, and he could cover, like you said, Stinda, he could cover wide receivers, cover running backs out of the backfield, and run with them. So
Yeah.
I took Urlacher.
He was, the best game ever was 05 when Jerome Bettis ran over Brian
Jeez.
Urlacher, and I have that picture framed. It's here on the side. So, but yeah, I
You're an
mean,
idiot.
Shocker.
Bus could take him down. Did he? Urlacher was no match for the Bus, man. So
Bus was a big dude. He was
yeah,
tough to
he was
tackle.
probably 270.
Yeah.
Easily. Yep.
Urlacher was
imagine
probably only
that?
like 250.
Yeah,
Can you
250.
imagine the bus
Yeah.
coming right at you?
No.
I mean,
Dude.
you want to talk about fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see it coming the whole time. You're like, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt.
I mean, like, could you ask? I know we're not really getting off topic with
No,
it,
we're
but
good.
what do you think? Like, put the bus in today's game, like running. And I know it's obviously a heavy passing league, but how hard do you think it would be difficult, even though these guys are super athletic and fast and can go cover receivers? Like, how do you think that would fare with, like you put Bus at 260 in his prime? Do you think he'd still be a successful back, or would he be too slow?
I
don't know the way they tackle these days, though. I don't think anybody could tackle them.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
I mean, the way they tackle, I think they bounce right off of the guy.
Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah. I mean, he still would be tough to tackle, but I just don't know. I don't know if they would use him the way the Steelers used him. You know what I mean?
Right.
The way the game's played now. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
What would you do? I mean,
yeah, they just don't have. There's no backs like that in the NFL anymore.
no.
I mean,
No.
and there's no like true like fullbacks. Every once in a while, a team's got two backs in a formation, but it's not very often in the NFL anymore. So,
Right.
But
All right, Jim McMahon, and you took McMahon over Rex, huh?
yeah, Rex Grossman was not that good, and I mean, he just wasn't. Yeah, he got him to a Super Bowl, but that was because their defense was unreal, and they had Devin Hester returning kicks all the time that year. So, Jim McMahon, again, I didn't really see him play. That was kind of, I mean, I wasn't in that time frame. So, but obviously watching highlights and all that, I think Jim McMahon's better than Rex Grossman.
Rex. I had a Rex Grossman jersey.
Did you?
Yeah, it was the orange. You remember when they had the orange jerseys?
Yeah, I remember the orange, yeah.
Yeah, man. I had
I
no
think
Rex.
part of the appeal is just his first name.
Yeah, Rex.
Yeah.
Rex. I mean, how can you not like a guy named Rex?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Doesn't matter how good you are. My name's Rex.
My name's Rex.
Yeah.
Yep. You cannot go wrong with that.
He was like below average quarterback.
Oh, far below.
He was not that good.
I think
the Bears have had a lot of those though. A lot of below average quarterbacks.
That brings me to, I think a better one would have been Rex Grossman or Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah,
I'd take a Trubisky.
No.
Oh my!
Not when he was with the Bears.
He wasn't that bad with the Bears.
He had one good year with the Bears. Trubisky. That was it.
I would have taken Rex over that one.
I would have too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Coy, you would take Rex
over Trubisky? Yeah.
Oh my! Wow, I'm surprised both of you on that one.
Rex got the Bears to a Super Bowl. Trubisky didn't.
Rex had
That'd be interesting to like look at their stats though. Compared their stats.
Rex had to throw for like 98 yards a game.
But the thing is Rex was consistently below average and still got into the Super Bowl. Mitch would have some good games, and then he would have games where it's, have you ever played football before?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rex was just consistently some games right at average, some games below average, but he was consistent. Yep. You knew what you were getting with Rex. With Mitch, you didn't know what Mitch was showing up.
That's valid. Yep.
I'd say Rex reminded me a lot of Trent Dilfer.
It's just like he was like a game manager. That's what Dilfer was too.
Yeah.
I'm like he trying to just don't turn the ball over. You don't have to like throw it downfield much. Quick stuff. Hand the ball off. Defense is going to keep you in the game.
Yep.
Hester might return a punt or a kick. It's just.
Well,
Tony, he's throwing shade at the Bears here. Bears only franchise with no quarterback to ever have 30 TD passes in the season. They're also the only franchise, I think, to not have a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards in a season.
Oh my
They've never had a 4,000-yard passer, the Bears.
It's
Really?
not an easy place
That's hard,
for a
yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah.
No. That's
Caleb Williams. Here we go.
Oh,
okay, guys. He can't even complete a pass in 7-on-7
Hey,
from what they're saying.
Well,
Bust.
I'm not. It's June 2nd. Okay, he's got time to get better.
It
They
is
don't-
hard to embrace
Oh.
Caleb Williams, though.
Yeah,
I don't know
he's
why.
got
Maybe
he's
it's
got
just me.
moments, but
I don't know.
you
I'm
know what?
saying
If he throws 30 touchdown passes and throws for 4,000 yards, I don't care what he does.
True. True.
Because if
Yeah,
he
I
does
agree.
that,
Yeah. Sure.
he does that, I think the Bears are making a playoff run if that's
Yep.
the case. But
I don't. I mean, I'm right there with you. I hope that he is what they think he
yeah,
is.
I do
But
too.
it just rubbed me the wrong way when he didn't go to the combine. He just had
Well,
a
he
bunch
was
of pro day
there, but he didn't.
workouts.
He didn't do any of this stuff at the combine. He was just there doing all the interviews and stuff. But yeah,
That doesn't sit well with me.
yeah, it's weird the whole combine thing. A lot of guys don't do like a lot of guys opt out of that now, which is don't want to hurt their stock or things like that. But whatever.
You had you took Mark Grace over Derek Lee.
I did. Mark Grace is my favorite Cub of all time.
Is he?
Oh yeah. So partly because I'm a lefty. Mark Grace, obviously a lefty as well. He wore no batting gloves. He was like one of the few guys that not wear batting gloves,
Yeah.
and he just just singles and doubles, single double. Like he would just get on base, get hits, and I thought he was an underrated defensive player too.
Sure.
So yeah, I love Mark Grace. D. Lee, he was solid too, though. He was a good player. I just watched a little documentary on him when he was with the Cubs the other day, but yeah, I can't go against Mark Grace. He's my favorite Cub of all time. So
Number
why I
7.
went
I
there.
can't disagree with that.
Yeah,
Derek Lee, he hit rockets though. Missiles.
he did. He
He
hit
did.
the hard,
Dude.
and he was a good defender too. He could play defense.
I can't remember what year it was when they were playing. He was with like Mark Pryor when he was pitching, right?
He would have played some years with him. Yeah.
Went to a game like my first year of college, and it was when he was like on a hit streak or something. And
yeah.
What's that?
I was just when that documentary I watched, they were talking about he had like a 26 game hit streak or something the one year.
Yeah, and
might have been that.
Every time he was up, dude, the crowd. I've never seen a crowd like just how electric it was. But every time he was up, like he literally hit a missile, and I think he was like 2 for 4, and he had like this one he hit to right field. I'm not kidding you. I was like lower level, and you would have thought it was like literally a missile, or like shooting out of a cannon. And like the right fielder, like just stuck his glove up, like was on the run, and he snagged it. And it's like if it would have dropped, he would have easily had 2. But man, he was a big guy.
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah,
he was a big dude. Hated him when he played for the Marlins, though. He's the one that hit that big homer in the Marlins Cubs NLCS there when the whole Bartman thing.
the whole
Bartman.
Yeah.
Is that guy still alive?
I think so. Yeah.
I think Cubs fans will let you know when he does move on.
Yeah, that'll be a news story probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor
Those are
guy.
interesting. I like them all.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah. Good stuff.
Cool beans.
All right. Should we get in some tier talk here?
Let's get the old tier talk, baby.
So, Casey, we do our tier talk every episode, and our tier talk this week is greatest players not in the Hall of Fame. And I have one from NBA, NFL, and MLB, but you could have all 3 from whatever league. But we'll go through our list, and then we each give 1-word response for that person's list when they're done. So, Stenda, you want to roll first, or how do you want to do it?
I'll let you go first, and
You
then
go.
Casey, do you have a list?
I do.
Okay,
All right.
Coach Coy, you go, and then Casey, and I'll go last.
All right. Cool. So I have an honorable mention.
Ooh, you do?
As I always do.
Honorable
My,
mentions.
my honorable mention is Sean Kemp, the Rain Man,
Ooh,
The Rain Man.
for
solid
the
choice.
Seattle Supersonics. I think he averaged right around 15 points a game, eight and a half rebounds, and I think close to like 2 blocks a game.
Yep.
That dude was just he was really one of those. I had a pair of his shoes too, his Reebok Kemp shoes. Those are sweet, the green and black and white ones. But he was he was bigger. He's like 6'10", but he was so athletic. And I was kind of in the era where like big guys weren't like super athletic, kind of like they are now. You know what I mean? It was like the back to the basket, big man type game. And he was just a high flyer and fun to watch. And he's not in there yet, so hopefully he gets in there sometime. My number 3 is going to be Alex Rodriguez. So I know there's some steroid performance enhancing type stuff surrounding Alex Rodriguez, but he has the 5th most home runs all time. He's at 696 home runs. He has over 3,000 hits, like 15 All-Star appearances, over 2,000 RBIs. So I think he's only been eligible maybe like 4 years. So I mean, I don't know, but I don't know if he's going to get in with the whole steroid thing and how baseball's kind of blackballed all those guys. So
Sure.
we'll see there. Number 2, I put Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne.
So
Gosh, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Man, he was so good too.
Reggie Wayne.
I think he's been eligible for the Hall of Fame like for the last 5 years. He's 10th all time in receptions and 10th all time in receiving yards. And there's been obviously a lot of really good receivers out there. So definitely think he'd be a worthy candidate to be in the Hall of Fame there. And then my number 1, I put Pete Rose.
Sure.
I mean, dude had over 4,000 hits, batted over 300 for his career. Obviously isn't going to probably ever get in, I guess, because of the whole gambling issue he had when he played, but
which needs to change.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
So yeah, that's my list. That's my list of Hall of Fame guys.
I'm going to say honorable.
Okay. Like it. You got a word for me, Casey?
Solid.
Okay. Appreciate it.
I like it.
I want to hear
Casey.
Stenda's next.
Okay. You want mine? All right. I'll go. You can finish it off.
Because we might have the same ones.
Coy, you did steal my NBA one. So I had Sean Kemp, the Rain Man.
Okay.
So, but hey, I took after you and I had an honorable mention, so I'm going to replace it.
Nice. Okay.
Chris Webber.
Yeah, okay.
Chris Webber. 5-time NBA All-Star, NBA Rookie of the Year. He averaged 20.7 per game and almost 10 rebounds in his career. You know, he basically averaged a double-double his entire career. I know remember, didn't they play against the Lakers in the early 2000s and they were getting close to a championship?
Yeah, they were. Yep.
They
had a good team. They had some players, the Kings did.
Like Doug Christie and I think Jason Williams.
Yep, Jason Williams on that team.
Yep. Peja Stojakovic, remember him?
Yeah, Peja. Yeah.
Remember him, Casey?
Yeah, he could play.
So Weber, and I always think of him. I go back to remember the Fab Five with Michigan when they, they had the, he calls the timeout when they don't have the timeout. So Chris Webber, MLB, I obviously got to go Barry Bonds. And again, almost 298 career hitter, 2,900 hits, obviously 762 home runs. Here is kind of the other stats. So, like 514 stolen bases, 8-time Gold Glove winner, 12-time slugger. He won MVP 7 times.
Yeah.
And again, the steroid stuff is obviously going to be associated with it. But, you know, like we talked earlier, McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, they saved MLB. And if it was not for them, where was MLB headed? You know, they just came off that lockout or strike. Those guys changed baseball. So, and again, Bonds, I think regardless, hey man, you know, it was a time when they weren't testing for it and they had nothing in place. So that's my guy for MLB. For the NFL, I have Torrey Holt.
Yeah.
So 10 years in the NFL, 74 touchdown catches, almost 14,000 receiving yards. And again, out of those guys, you picked Reggie Wayne. I had Reggie, but you know, Reggie played 3 more years than Holt. Holt had, about the same amount of, touchdown catches and then receiving yards. But yeah, I think he won a Super Bowl with, didn't they beat the Titans? I think he was on that team and they beat the Titans.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah.
Yep. So he had a Super Bowl there. Yeah. So I had Holt, and he had 8. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler, and he had 8 1,100-yard receiving seasons in his career. So
That's solid.
yeah, that's my career.
You made Tanner Weber happy.
Best thing I've ever heard. Hey, he was, man. I mean, he had Kurt Warner. Remember they had Marshall Falk?
Yeah.
They had a lot of good players.
Yeah.
Isaac Bruce.
Yeah.
They're good. Yeah.
So Torrey Holt, Barry Bonds, Sean Kemp. Well, say Chris Webber.
All right. I'll go great.
Great.
Old school,
baby.
Nice.
Let's do it.
All right, Casey. Let's hear it.
Putting you on the spot, dude.
Well, like I said, I was trying to find my list because I wrote down a list of why I had them on my list, but I can't find. I got so many notes, I can't find them. But I know for sure one of them was Barry Bonds, and I'm not a fan of the steroid era. I think that during that time, obviously, I mean, you could obviously tell these guys were doing the roids and whatnot, but I think now that they've cracked down on it, but I mean, you still can't take away, like you said, Barry Bonds. I mean, what he did for the game and just how electric he was in the way that he played. I think that he needs 100% to be in.
Yep.
And it goes with what was my second, because I had a feeling we were going down this road because we've talked about this before at length, car to car, in the middle of the night, Pete Rose.
Sure.
I kind of went the MLB route because that's what I love the most is the MLB. I mean, Pete Rose, I think got completely I feel bad for him. I mean, he was a great ball player. I mean, his play spoke for itself, excuse me. But then again, that whole controversy on betting and all that, I mean, it definitely took a toll on him.
Well, now you can bet.
Him.
So, well, you can't. I mean, you can't, but I mean,
well, it's sad to see what's going on today. And, the whole NIL deals and all that. And, I mean, look at what just happened in Iowa recently with the, sports betting in college sports, and some of these guys have been betting and then, they get some of the cases recently with some of the Cyclone players and the Hawkeyes have been dropped. Well, then, there's Pete Rose in the background like, hey, remember me?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. to me, there's a lot that needs to be changed, because I think I personally think, if you're betting on your team to win, I don't see a problem with that.
No.
I mean, that's going to give you that's going to give you some juice to go out there and really perform.
Yeah.
But last one, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my list because I had a good one for it. And I know I should have been a little bit more prepared but trying to find a place to do this podcast was a little difficult with Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Shoeless Joe.
One of the best hitters of all time. Not in the Hall of Fame. Those are my three.
Nice.
Shoeless Joe Jackson. Well, you talk about taking it way back.
Yeah, that's going way back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
That's it.
I'll say strong. That's a strong list.
Classic.
Well, like I said, I'm a baseball guy. I'm an MLB guy. So
Sure.
I can't tell you the last time I watched an NBA game. I mean, it's been 15 years. I mean, if there's one on, there's one on. I'm not watching it, So it's hard for me to get on the NBA deal.
So going back to, I mean, you guys both had Bonds on your list. So the whole steroid thing and all these guys not getting in the Hall of Fame because of that, like Bonds, Sosa, McGuire, Alex Rodriguez, guys like that. So we were actually talking about this. I went golfing this morning and we went out to lunch with the guys I was with. And we were talking about it, and like just because you're on steroids, like your ball's probably going to go a little further, right? But it's really hard to hit a baseball. Like your hand-eye coordination is like got to be top of the line. Your hands got to be so quick, especially in the MLB. I mean, that ball's coming at you at 95 plus most of the time, and these guys are still squaring it up. So were they technically cheating? Maybe, yeah, but I don't know. I don't think. Because if you look at like Bond's stats before the whole steroid, I mean, his stats were still crazy good.
He's like
And
445 home runs
he was
before
still like
he was
a
alleged.
top 10 player, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy, but.
Well, I think, there is an argument with steroids as far as injuries are concerned. I mean, there's a fair amount of people out there that say steroids are going to, help you through the injuries or not get injured at all.
Yeah.
I just, when I look back at that era, it's, you got guys out there that are trying to do it the natural way. And then obviously the guys that are like Barry Bonds, just dumping bombs all day long. But, when it comes to professional hitting as a ball player, I mean, the timing, like you said, Coit, the hand-eye coordination, the swing, how you're going to swing, what pitch is coming, how, you want to have the same swing for each pitch type. I mean, I think that steroids do have obviously the benefits of power, but at the end of the day, it should still be a level playing field for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it shouldn't take away, it shouldn't be a red mark on your career. Especially after hitting that many bombs like Barry Bonds. I mean, he still contributed a lot to the MLB and in getting that viewership and getting people excited about baseball. I think it should be noted, but I mean, steroids are a different beast, especially now with, all this more stringent testing and blood draws and all that. I level the playing field if that's the case.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Put them in the hall, baby.
Yeah, for sure.
Put them in the hall.
Put them all in.
Put them in.
You deserve it.
It's sad to think we'll be dead or we'll be dying and they didn't get in. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I think, like you said, the stringent, before that, they didn't have there was no process for it. They weren't testing for it. They didn't have a policy in play. And then later on, I mean, MLB knew those guys were doing it. Would you guys agree? They knew it because they wanted them to save baseball. They knew we need people to save it. They knew they were doing it. And then guess what? Once they saved baseball, did everything for MLB, got them to where they needed to be, made them all this money. What'd they do? Dump them. Yep. You wait until 5 years when you retire or whatever. We're going to cast you out and hang you out to dry. It's like, don't say you didn't know they weren't doing it. And if you knew they were doing it and you were worried about them doing it, why didn't you put a stop to it or implement? And they didn't, because they needed people to save baseball. So use and abuse and then get rid of them. And, it'll happen again with these guys like Trout and all those guys. You can't tell me that there aren't guys right now that are using steroids. I'm sorry, but
God, I can't think of the guy's name. Plays for the Rangers. It's one of their better players. Geez, names, I'm drawing a blank, but they showed a picture from him last year to this year. And this dude is,
there's no way it's not natural.
There's no way that's natural. I mean, let me see if I find it on my phone. Garcia? Is it Garcia? God, I can't remember his name.
I was going to say, remember Pudge Rodriguez, Ivan?
Yeah.
For the Rangers?
I do.
Yeah, it's different. I don't know.
Yeah, Garcia is the guy I'm thinking of.
It's just a different era.
Yeah.
Now it's just things have changed a lot just in the last 5 years.
Absolutely. But it's all money, again, we could say this all day, but it's all about money, for MLB as a whole, obviously the organizations, each organization. But you look at that when Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa and Roger Clemens, those again, that's the trend. And that's what's going to continue to happen. People now are like, nope, they're not using steroids because they test. Hold on. Yeah, they might have a policy in place. They still need guys to make them tons of money. So guess what? They'll sweep it under the rug until they have no more use for them. And then guess what? It's just the cycle repeats. So it's like, okay, you guys think Aaron Judge, I'm not saying Aaron Judge takes steroids or anything, but I'm using him as an example. Okay. Yeah, you need him right now. Sure. Until you don't need him. And then what is it going to be? Oh, well, we had these 3 tests that we didn't put him out there, but yeah, he tested positive. It's like, oh, he did, huh? Yeah, because you don't have any use for him anymore. And that's what's going to happen. I think I think there are a lot of people that are oblivious. I think they're more like, yeah, it's not happening. It's way different now. It's like, no, it's not.
Can you see this or no? Can you see the picture?
Jacked.
Hold on. This was him last year. And then that's him this year. It doesn't even look like the same.
Are you sure that's the same guy?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't even look like the same guy.
He looks huge.
Yeah, he's put on some significant muscle in a short amount of time.
It's got to be
it can happen, yeah, but holy cow.
Whey protein and tuna.
Yeah, whey protein. Yeah, whey protein and tuna. Yeah.
I need to get on that diet then, I guess.
Jeez.
I guess I also probably do a little more lifting too, but all right. Stenda, you got anything more for Casey before we sign off here?
I think we're good, man.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on, man. We there's any Tama County people out there listening, make sure you go out and vote on Tuesday.
Vote Tuesday.
Right? Yep, Tuesday. Make sure you vote for Casey Schmidt, sheriff.
Maybe I'll come back on when life isn't so hectic right now.
Yeah.
You can wear your sheriff uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, buddy.
Good luck on Tuesday, man. And
I appreciate it.
I'm sure I'll talk to you, see you beforehand. So
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for Tuesday, and we're gonna get it done, and we're gonna get on to the next chapter.
Hey, well, if you get that big pay raise, just give some to me. I'll take
Yeah,
like 10 or 15% of it.
Yeah,
They'll be your
there you
friends,
go.
right?
There you go.
All right, folks. We're
Yep.
signing off. We'll see you next Sunday. Adios.
Have a good one,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
We'll
you
see
too.
you.